You for a reason. Thank you, honey. So tonight, guys, we are continuing the Get Off Your Butt and Coach series. And tonight's session is a special session about how to replace your pro bono coaching with paid coaching. So I want to welcome you all this evening. And tonight you've actually got two presenters, myself and my wonderful husband.
Yay!
Yay! So we are here to share with you how we replaced our pro bono coaching with paid coaching and how we got to the point of charging what we charge for our coaching services. And I want to ask you tonight, before we get started, I just actually would love to check in with you. For anyone who was here with us last time, what has changed for you? What things have you been doing differently, and most importantly, how many more hours are you coaching? I'd love to hear from anyone who had some changes after last week. So any comments just down into that question box, that would be most gratefully accepted, because I'd love to know what difference this series is making for you. This series is really about getting you guys out there coaching. It's not about any book learning, it's about getting off your butt and coaching. So any comments?
I know there was a few people last week that said, that's it, I'm getting out there and I'm just coaching now.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Kirsty, we have started. Kirsty can't hear us. Yep, okay. Bob started on a second business coaching. Okay.
Well done,
Daniela
Bob.
Increased coaching hours. Well done, Daniela. And Daniela, what did you notice from that increase in your coaching hours? Apart from being more busy, what happened for you in terms of your skills? What improvements did you notice, or areas for improvement? Adrian. Yes, fantastic. You've done some extra coaching, haven't you? And I hope you enjoyed some great results. I'm sure you did enjoy some great results from that. The more practice, the better, guys.
Absolutely.
You don't become a master at something by just learning about it from a book. You become a master of something by doing it.
And Glenn, not a lot of changes, more thoughts than actions. Put those thoughts into actions, Glenn, my friend. It will do great things for you.
Glenn, I would be very surprised if you were not an AD. Are you an AD, my friend? Because I've got a classic AD sitting right beside me, so you can take some inspiration from him and how he turned those thoughts into actions. Daniela has said she's increased in confidence and moving forward with setting up a business. Kirsten is saying that she's coaching whenever and wherever I am and being aware of body language and the language of others. Awesome. Louise has picked up 8 pro bonos since Friday. Incredible. Louise, great job. Amazing. Tendai is now getting more clients and learning to be more organised. Guys, I'm really noticing some great changes. Thank you. That's fantastic action. Congratulations for everyone who took lots of action. We're really impressed. And so now what we want to do is find out how we can turn some of those pro bono clients into paid clients. And so what we're going to do is share with you a couple of success stories to get tonight underway. Now, I spoke to Doc at length today about his story of how he got started with his coaching, and he told me some great stuff that he wanted me to share with you guys. So Doc himself was running his own business from 8 till 5 each day, and I think at the time he was doing software sales, wasn't he? Yeah. So he was running his own business from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. every day and studying coaching and doing coaching on the side. He got the building blocks. So you remember way back in base camp, those 10 building blocks, and the GROW model and 6 core needs. So that's what he started with, the building blocks, the GROW model and 6 core needs. And he got them under his belt, so he made sure that he learnt them and really had a good grasp of them. And once he had those 3, he just started coaching straight away. So what did he do? When he was first starting coaching, he coached from 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. Then he ran his business from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then he coached again after dinner from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. So he was coaching about 4 hours a day, as well as running a full-time business. And then he worked all weekend on his business. So his mindset was, I want results fast. And he was very smart. This is a great tip, so I hope you're writing this down, you guys. He leveraged off people who he knew in Perth And as you know, Perth is on a later schedule than those of us in Melbourne, Sydney. So that's how he was able to coach until well into the evening by working with people who had just finished up work in Perth, and they're a few hours behind us. So he was well into the evening, but he was coaching people on the phone who it wasn't so late for them, and that's how he was able to get a few extra clients at night. Now, when he started out in coaching, and this is a new story, I didn't know this one, he actually started out in the dating niche because he thought that was a great niche. And I actually had heard a bit about this, but I didn't know the whole thing. So he started out in the dating niche, and he was doing workshops teaching women what men are all about. And so he said he was sitting around in workshops with young ladies drinking glasses of champagne and having lots of fun, but he realised that wasn't necessarily totally congruent with who he was and his levels of experience. So he actually then realised that his real strength was in sporting clubs, talking to guys about sport, having used all of his experience with cricket and sport teaching, etc. And so he switched his niche into working with sporting professionals, so professional athletes, clubs, etc. And one thing that he did do, he contacted AFL clubs and ran free workshops with them about mindset, success, and all of that stuff. And it was all from the building blocks, grow, and the 6 core needs. And then he sold them coaching packages at the end of the night. And with only those actions, that's all he did, and he just did it and did it and did it until it stopped work, until he didn't need to do it anymore. He's the only coach that I personally know made $100,000 of coaching revenue in their first year. So that's just huge, guys. That's a massive amount of business from a massive amount of action. So that's the success story of our very own chief coach and mentor, Doc, and that's how he got from being a student to being a master in coaching. Okay, so are there any questions or comments about that so far? There's a couple of points about that story that I really love. I love the fact that he didn't stick with his first niche because, as Doc would say to you, you just date the niche. You don't have to marry it. So if you don't like your first niche and it's not working for you, choose another one. Coaching can apply to so many different areas. And the other thing I love is actually the same thing that I'm going to tell you as part of my story, and it's a realization that I hope many of you are going to have, and hopefully sooner than later. Oh, hello. We've got a couple of people saying no sound.
Our microphone is working all right.
Yeah, there we go.
Kerry, are you on a wireless network by chance?
Yeah.
That's all right. We've got others saying they can hear us okay, so we'll keep going.
Yeah.
Kerry, if you're on wireless, if you can get hardwired.
Thank you.
Okay now.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so for me, my journey was a little bit different. I was running my own business too as a training consultant, and I learned coaching on the side. And I started coaching a couple of hours a week pro bono as part of my studies. But then after about 6 months, I upped it to about 6 to 10 hours per week because I realised that I just wasn't learning fast enough by doing a couple of hours a week. So I just really felt that I wasn't seeing enough change in my skills, and I was nearly ready to give up coaching because it didn't feel right for me. And the thing was, I was dabbling. I wasn't really making any attempt to master my craft. I was just doing the bare minimum, and it wasn't getting me good results. So I kept studying, but more than anything, I upped my coaching to 6 to 10 hours a week of pro bono. And I was very busy in my training business, and I didn't give coaching the time or attention that it deserved. If only I could go back, that's something that I would change. But no regrets, because everything that I went through has got me to where I am today. So as you guys know, NLP was a major one for me. I know it has been for a lot of you guys too. NLP showed me how to choose my emotions instead of being driven by them, and that was a lot for me that was holding me back. And so after that, really, there was no stopping me. I I I deliberated a lot over my niche. I really wasn't sure what my niche was going to be. Remember those days, Hayde?
Yeah.
Yep, yep. So a lot of being unsure about what my niche was going to be and where I could work. And eventually I had the same realization that Doc had had. And I want you guys to hear this. I realized that the coaches who have the most success are the ones who trade off what they already have and what they already know and add coaching to it in some way. So I stopped trying to find a different niche. I stopped trying to walk away from what I had previously been doing, and I became a career coach. And it was something that I found myself doing anyway, so why not coach with it and start earning money from it. So the moment that I did that, everything changed. I went from strength to strength. My first paying client after maybe about 60 or 80 hours of pro bono coaching was a friend's husband who wanted to change his job, and he paid me a princely sum of $50 per session, which is not a lot at all now compared to my current rates, but at the time it was just a huge cause for celebration. And he bought 6 sessions, and he didn't use them all actually, because after 3 sessions he got his dream job and he just let me keep the rest as a tip because he was so happy. And then really that just began the success story for me. So I upped my price every time I got a new client at that time, because I felt that I already had a lot of professional background in HR behind me to give me that confidence. See, that was my evidence procedure. I actually didn't need to worry about that because coaching is enough without needing anything else. But for me, I needed that extra proof. So I enjoyed knowing that I was coming from a background where I guess I'd probably earned the right to charge that. So I upped my price to $100 for the next client, and then $175 a session for the next few clients. And where did they come from? They were all word of mouth, and they were all from pro bono clients. So every single paying client I got at the start of my coaching career was all through referrals from pro bonos or through my wider network of people, friends, colleagues, associates, who knew that I was coaching, knew I'd specialised in career coaching, and at some point they had someone who they recommended to me. Or me too. Yeah, so then what? Okay, so then I was approached by a company to do some work developing their senior leadership team, which was a great break. And I had a figure in my head that I thought I wanted to earn for group coaching sessions. And that was $3,000 a day. And I actually was very, very brave. I don't know quite how I was so brave, but I asked for double that and I got it. So that was my real final piece of evidence that I had more than enough to make a good living out of coaching. So my rate instantly became $6,000 a day for group coaching, and I sold several different types of products and packages to that client. And then from there it's just really it's become all about referred business and word of mouth. I was engaged by a different company I've dealt with in the past to do some career coaching, and I quoted them $350 a session, and they said, absolutely, what about if we buy 6? And I said, yeah, great, I'll do you a package rate of $275 a session, and they happily accepted that. And so I coached a couple of people on that rate through that company. So that now has become my sort of benchmark for where I'm at the moment. I'm regularly now making $275 a session and selling them as packages rather than individual sessions. But my regular rate is $350 a session, and my regular per day rate for group coaching is $6,000. And that's always where I set my benchmark. And of course, I work with the client depending on what it is that they're looking for and adjust things as I need to. So I still have a very individualistic kind of pricing structure. And after doing Mastermind with Doc, things have really changed again for me. So it's now not so much about getting the private clients, although I still work with a few. It's more now about getting our one-to-many products out on the market. So that's where I'm at.
Yay!
Yay! So guys, that's the absolute truth of my story in coaching. Yeah, what time frame was it, Yasmin? Good question. It was a long time frame, darling, and that was my confidence levels in myself. I had a lot of work to do, not so much anymore.
I don't think it was that long. What are we talking, 18 months?
Yeah, I guess, I suppose 18 months.
18 months, not that long.
No, it felt long at the time. And that's something that I wanted to let you guys know, that, every single day that you have this dream and don't do something about it, you're just hurting yourself. I really encourage you, no matter what the small step is, just to take it every single day. And I had lots of different things that I tried, and I say the word tried because I did try and they didn't work. But there is no failure, there's only feedback. So for me, I had a lot of different approaches, a lot of different marketing approaches that I tried. None of them worked as well as word of mouth. And I think that Doc would probably say the same thing, although he is the master of marketing and he's got lots of nifty tricks up his sleeve for getting your word out about your coaching services. So that's my story, and that's the absolute truth. I haven't told you one untruth there. That's exactly what has happened for me on my coaching journey. I now work for myself full-time from home. I have the freedom and luxury to do what I want when I want. I enjoy all kinds of, bonuses that I would never have had working in an office. Things like, if I'm not happy with how my day is going, I can go outside and play with the dog or potter around in my veggie garden. I also have the opportunity to work in several different arenas and keep my fingers in lots of different pies as I sort out where I want to take my business next. And I just have so much freedom. And you know what? More than anything, for someone who worked in a basement for 12 years and didn't see daylight, that's the most amazing thing. Is I get to sit in the sunshine and have a cup of tea every single day, and I love it, and I'm so happy. And my business is continuing to grow right now. And I wish all of you even more success and even quicker success. But what I wanted to share with you tonight was what really made the difference for me. There were 4 things that really made a difference for me in the transition from a volunteer coach to a paid coach. The first one is something that I spoke to you guys about last week, and that was the 200 Reasons Why exercise. The 200 Reasons Why exercise, do you guys remember what that was about? That is a John Demartini exercise where he says if there's something that you want to achieve in your life and you're not achieving it, then you need to write down 200 reasons why this has to work, why this must work, and why this can work. And when I did that, that was a major game changer for me. It made me realize that I had so many more reasons to do it than not to do it, and it just propelled me into action. The other thing that made a huge difference for me, and I'm being completely honest with you, was an inordinate amount of financial pain when I overcommitted to actually a coaching product that I couldn't afford, and it really drained us financially. And it was in my attempt to continue learning on my coaching journey, and it made me realize that I didn't have the right yet to go out and be seeking more education when I wasn't using what I already had. So it just gave me a huge amount of financial pain, and it made me go, wow, I really have to start earning money from this. So that was a big deal for me, and it really, sometimes stacking the pain is what you've got to do to get you to move.
It is the Tony Robbins way.
It is the Tony Robbins way. It worked well for us, didn't it? Yeah. The other thing that really worked for me was just building up some success in my pro bonos, having evidence of success that coaching works, and really seeing the magnificence that is within everyone. That if you just coach, they'll get where they need to go. If you just do it with the right intention, they will get where they need to go, because they're all magnificent. Seeing that really helped me to understand that I was putting way too much pressure on myself to be perfect and have all the answers, and that actually, as a facilitator of success, all I needed to do was show up and ask the great questions. And that gave me a level of confidence to start asking for money. And I really accepted then that where I wanted to coach was probably where I should start. I spent 6 months trying to find a niche and rejecting everything that I already knew from the world of human resources and career coaching and all of that stuff. I truly believe, and this is something I spoke to Doc about this morning, and he totally advocates me giving you this message because this was his discovery as well. The most successful coaches are the ones who incorporate coaching into what they already know how to do in some way and spin it to make something different and fresh. And I really would say to you guys that if you're struggling with a niche or not knowing where or how to coach, please don't worry about trying to find a new niche and become an expert in something new. How about coaching something that you're already an expert in, that you're already so across and so aware of? It instantly builds you a trusted advisor role, and it instantly allows you to claim success in that area. Is this making sense for you guys? Can I get some yeses, please? Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Thanks, Enrico. Okay, great. Thank you. Just wanted to check in. Great. Okay, so my question for you now, this class is not all about me banging on about myself. It's it's also about me calling you to account, because I know that's why you're here. You're here because you want to get off your butt and get coaching, right? So I really need to call you to account, guys, and just ask you, are you spending more hours studying than coaching? And are you even thinking about charging for your coaching yet? Are you working with a good number of pro bono clients? And do you have a business plan? Do you have a marketing plan? And do you have a niche? Because you need those things. And especially, I want to start with number one. If you're spending more hours studying than coaching, now, naturally at the very, very beginning of your journey, and I'm talking the first month maybe, that might be a reality. But I was talking to Doc today, and he said we have a new coach in our midst who hasn't even done base camp yet, and she's already done 5 hours of coaching. She hasn't even done base camp yet, and she's already done 5 hours of coaching.
With the pre-learning from this school, you can coach straight away.
Yeah.
You read it,
yep.
You get an understanding, you can coach straight away.
That pre-learning pack that you get, guys, that is all you need to do to coach someone. It's the GROW model. That's all you need to start coaching. And Glenn, yes, that does blow your excuse out of the water. Absolutely. And that's said with love and respect. And I would challenge you guys, if you haven't done base camp yet, or if you haven't done a lot of coaching and you've just come out of base camp, well, what are you waiting for? There's no better time than now to start coaching. If you're not even thinking about charging for your coaching yet, then I need you to get your skates on. Because until you have something called skin in the game, until you have a reason to start charging, you will never start charging. So I need you to start putting some promises out there to yourself and to your loved ones and whoever you need to make that commitment, and start thinking about charging. Now, guys, I started at $50 a session, and at the time I thought that was terribly undervaluing my coaching. But you know what? That's where I needed to be comfy, and that's what got me my first coaching gig. And I've got a great tip for you. If you're wondering about how much to charge for your coaching sessions, I want you to try this exercise. Say to yourself, okay, my coaching is $25 a session, and check in with yourself. Does that make you gasp? No? Okay, good. All right. Yeah, my coaching's $50 a session. No reaction yet? Okay, cool. You're all right with 50. My coaching is $100 a session. $200 a session. $400 a session. When I hit 400, I got a funny feeling in the pit of my stomach, and when I realized that $400 is what made me feel a bit wonky, I realized that was the limits of what I can currently charge comfortably for my coaching, because that's my feeling about it. Is this making sense? So check in with yourself. What is the figure that makes you gasp and go, that's the figure you need to just go a little bit below to charge for your coaching?
I would even say go for the one that makes you gasp, the first one that makes you gasp.
Yeah, right.
Put yourself out there. That's really putting skin in the game.
It is, yep. You must be working with a good number of pro bono clients as well, simply to get you the practice that you need. You don't become an expert after 5 hours of doing something. It took me maybe about 150 hours before I was able to start really coaching intuitively. And I think once you get around the 200-hour mark, things really start to accelerate. So you've got to have your pro bono clients going. And once you've got that stuff happening, a business plan, a marketing plan, and your niche. And these are all things that Doc can talk to you about. Oh my goodness, he could talk for what, a month without stopping?
A year.
A year without stopping. He's an expert at this stuff, so use that resource. Okay, just had a couple of sound technicality issues there. Can I just get a yes from everyone that you can hear us okay again now, please?
And if you're game, or if you're keen, put in a couple of figures that you've come up with by asking yourself that question.
All right.
Nice one.
Wow. Also, there's some big numbers there. Yeah, good. Very good. Glenn, thank you. Yep, good. Pam, great. So we're getting a range of answers. Some of you guys feel comfortable with $300 a session. Some of you go $120, $175. It is what it is. Do you know, I actually don't even think the figure matters as long as there's a figure to start with.
Beata.
Beata, darling, you're worth more than that, though.
Beata.
More, sweetie.
6 times. 6 times that. Come on.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, great. Good on you, Kerry. Good on you,
Fantastic.
Voight, with your NLP, you need to at least double that figure, my friend. NLP really ups your ability to get fast results. Of course, it depends what niche you're working in. Yeah. Okay, so my recommended commitment, remember we spoke about this last week, if you are really serious, then you need to be doing 6 to 10 hours of coaching per week. You need to be coming to the webinars. You need to be doing 2 hours of self-study, and you need to do repeated listening of the audios and have the webinars playing in the background when you're doing the housework, when you're driving, when you're doing downtime at home, when you're cooking. Just repeated listening of these concepts. I must have listened to some of the classes 8 or 10 times, I think. The more intense you can make your learning at this time, the better.
I don't know if you remember, but when I was doing my pre-learning, particularly when I was doing the NLP learning, I used to have the MP3 player with the earplugs in while I was sleeping.
That's right.
That's getting right to the subconscious.
You did, yeah. Hayden did some subconscious learning at night. Yeah, cool. So if there's one thing that makes all the difference above everything else in your journey, in your journey towards becoming a professional coach, guys, it's coaching. It's not becoming perfect at your questioning technique, and it's not having a fabulous looking website, although of course those things are important. But if you're not coaching, then you're not coaching. If your objective is to coach and you're not coaching, well, there's a disconnect there somehow.
That's me.
It is.
Is it time for me to talk?
It is time for Hayden to talk. So what I'd like to do now is introduce or reintroduce to many of you my wonderful husband, Hayden. Hayden.
You know, the numbers of listeners has just gone up since I've started.
It has, actually. Hayden is, I guess, we think he's a great reference point for you guys, because he started his life coaching journey at the Life Coaching College, or at the time
at Quick Coach.
It was called Quick Coach, and he has completed his diploma. He was the first diploma student to complete, I think, just by the skin of your teeth. There are a couple hot on your heels.
Absolutely.
But I think he's a great example for you guys because he's a different story again. He's still working full time, and he started this journey with learnings from Doc and from myself, and he continued that journey. So I think he's also a really great recent example for you. So I'm going to introduce you now to Hayden, and I'm going to stop talking for a minute and drink some tea, and Hayden's going to tell you about his story.
Thanks, Kath. My story is, I'm sure, not dissimilar to a lot of yours. I have one, I guess, two advantages, I would say. The first advantage that I had in the coaching field was that my lovely wife started her coaching journey about 12 months or so before I started mine, maybe just over 12 months. And when she started, I work in a fairly male-dominated industry, very blokey, and very, very no bullshit kind of industry. And when Kath started bringing me coaching concepts, I had listened to some Tony Robbins before, so I knew a little about it. But I thought that this place she was going was a bit of a cult, and I was getting a little concerned about what they were trying to do to her brain. So I listened in on a few of her classes later in the piece when I realised that she was really keen on it and she wasn't going to stop because I was freaking out. And I happened to hear Glenn Murdoch teaching a class at the last place where he was teaching before he started Quick Coach, and I listened to that bloke and I thought, you know what, he kind of sounds like just your average bloke, and he's getting into this stuff. He sounds pretty smart on the marketing stuff too. That's something that I've never really understood. And after Kath had done a little more, I decided that I needed to know about this. So I started my study at Quick Coach before it became the Life Coaching College, and I was working full-time in an ops management role for a large international transport company, and I was kind of just doing a typical management role. I learnt, luckily, my second advantage was to start with the NLP training session before I even did Basecamp. Now, I've got to say, that blows your mind to do NLP before Basecamp. I know that some others have had the opportunity to do that, and I applaud you all because it gets right in there. It really takes the skin off the mind and mixes it up and then puts it all back together, and it takes a bit of working out afterwards. It was an interesting way to go about it. By the time I got to Basecamp, and thank you, Adrian. And by the time I got to Basecamp, I had an unfair advantage over all the others in the class because I was already thinking in NLP terms, and I learnt a few things, and I actually have with me tonight my first notebook that I was using when I started with pro bono clients.
Hey.
As I said, I worked in a very male-dominated industry, and on Glenn's point from last week, to me, life coaching was not mainstream. I too had a fear of getting sneered at, and what I did was I started to think about people who were not completely closed-minded within my business, and I put an email out to, it was probably about 150 to 200 people within my wide network. It wasn't just work, it was also my friends, my family, their friends and family, all that kind of stuff. And I put an email out that basically said, hi friends, this is what I'm doing today, and I am looking for an opportunity to give some free coaching away as I'm doing my training. I never said that I was practicing because people don't really want to be practiced on.
Yeah.
I always said that, this is what I'm studying and I am learning and I am getting so good that I now need to go out there and start doing it. And I offered up 6 free sessions for the first, I think I offered it up to the first 15 people that came along.
Yeah.
And I was amazed at how quickly those free sessions got snapped up within that wider group.
Yeah, Hayden was so busy coaching, guys. It drove me crazy.
we didn't see each other for the first 6 weeks or so.
No.
and I was coaching at lunchtimes. I was coaching at the end of work. I was coaching around my hometown. We were talking a couple of weeks ago about walking coaching. It is a fantastic thing to do. It's great fun, and it's a really easy way to coach and get some exercise at the same time. The reason that I have my little notepad here is because what I did before I started the walking coaching was I wrote down the 5 secrets to success. I wrote down the 6 core needs. I wrote down the GROW model and the SMART model. And I wrote down the 4 levels of experience. And I used to look over that before any session, and I actually ran my first 6 sessions with each person who took up the offer on the 5 secrets to success. Yeah. Now, this is something that was in Basecamp, and it is such a simple thing and so logical. For an AD like me, it made perfect sense.
Yeah. And I'm actually going to be teaching that in the next class, guys. So we may not go over that model now.
That's fine. That's fine.
But in the next class, we'll be looking at that actually. So join me for the next webinar as well.
Yeah. It was great fun starting out, Kirsty. Thank you for noticing. When I had my first lot of pro bono clients, as I said, I offered it out to 15 people, 6 free sessions each. I was building into a new role at my full-time job, and I got offered a fantastic role, which I have now built into kind of an executive coaching role. So I still work full-time. My role is not specifically coaching. It is coaching and training and other things. But I definitely do coaching most of the day, every day. And I've gone from just a site ops manager into a state role, and I look after both Victoria and New Zealand, and I look after about 17 sites, and my role is to assist the business managers and ops managers in their business, and in doing so I have a tendency to coach them and then train their people. So that's what I built into my full-time work, and in my coaching work I took one of my coaching clients to start with and rolled him straight into a package.
A full package. He did far better than me, guys. He rolled this pro bono client straight into a very expensive package because he'd had such great results with the pro bono work. So, yeah, huge. You just gave him huge value, and
Absolutely.
You gave him an offer he couldn't refuse to continue, didn't you?
And that was the start of me getting package-paying clients. And the reason that I believe that I got it was because I had fun with the pro bono side of it, and I did deliver great results. In fact, he delivered great results. I just helped guide him there.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say to you guys tonight, there was a couple of things that I wanted to say about how do you turn a pro bono into a paying client. There's 2 main things. One is to have something to offer.
Can you just say it again?
So that was one, is to have something to offer. So before I actually finished my pro bono sessions, I was going through the diploma studies, and in the diploma studies, I'm sure as in your studies now, it is a way to build a coaching business. If you follow it all the way through, you'll end up with a business. So I put together a pricing structure and a package structure.
Yeah.
Using all that I'd learnt, and the second thing that I had was not only something to offer, but I actually put out the question. At the end of the pro bono sessions, I asked my clients, well, that's been fantastic, and thank you for your time, and I really appreciate it, but I didn't leave it at that. I went on to say, here is what I can offer you from now. We've done our free stuff, and I'd love to continue working with you. And because you're a pro bono client, I will offer you a discounted rate.
Yep.
And I offered up the packaging. Now, my coaching at the moment is $350 a session. And I talk sessions because we don't talk in hours, because we don't work dollar for hour.
No way.
We talk sessions because one session could be 20 minutes, another could be 2 hours. Depends on what the client needs.
Yeah.
So I'm at $350 per session, and I offer coaching packages ranging from, let's see if I can remember, I haven't looked at it for a little while. It's about two grand for the 3 months, and goes up to about $6,000 for the 12 months.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm offering between 3 and 5 times the value. So my package comparison table shows for the $6,000 one, I think it's about $15,000 worth, and I have plenty of added value and added value. I just keep heaping on the value so that when people look at it, they look what they're going to get and they look what they're going to pay. They love it and jump at it.
Can I clarify something, Hayden? What do you mean by value? Because it's something coaches say a lot. Okay. What do you mean by I add value? Beautiful
question. The way that I add value is I look at the individual and I offer up options for example, not only do we do 6 coaching sessions, for example, in the 3 month, or we do 7 in the 3 month, but we also have 2 different types of coaching workbooks that we can work through so that they have something tangible to take away. I also offer some paperback books or hardback books, and they might be in self-help or self-development type areas.
Yeah, this is a really great tactic, guys. A beautiful, eloquent, elegant, well-written book. Something like The Brain That Changes Itself by Norman Doidge, or Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers.
Which is now out of print.
Which is now out of print, so you can use Embracing Uncertainty by the same author. Something that is a really beautiful, elegant book that's going to assist them to get some self-development going and assist you, because they'll be easier to coach with that new insight. This is such a great value add. It doesn't cost you much, but the perceived value from the client is huge, and it just really adds a lot of I guess meatiness to the packages that you're offering. It's a tangible,
Absolutely. And then since we discovered or started to become licensed practitioners in HeartMath, a lot of the added value that I give now is in relation to stress resilience in that area.
Yeah.
So there's heaps and heaps on it. Kath put our websites up at the start of the session. Feel free to go to the website and check out the coaching package. My website is a funny-looking homemade thing, but I like it because it's a photo from my honeymoon, our honeymoon.
That's right. So value, guys, in terms of coaching packages can be product, it can be extra services that you offer. One thing that I do for my clients, because they tend to be more corporate, they love to see things, they love receiving emails. So as a matter of course, I take a few notes during the session and summarize the key learnings for them on an email 24 hours later, so that they don't have to take notes during the session, and it's just purely all about them being in the moment. That's something that's suitable for my clients because they tend to be very, very AD, and I want them to get away from that in the session and just focus on really being in the moment. It may not be appropriate for other types of clients, but that's something I do. So you have to add value or add services or products or things into your package that are going to be of value to your particular clients. Can I check in with you that this is making sense for you and this is giving you some ideas on how to convert your pro bono clients into paying clients? How are we going, guys?
I'm glad that it's gold.
Yep. Oh, I saw a gold. Yep, great. Okay, great. Cool. Okay. And I just think that's hilarious because everyone's going, oh, yes, it's fabulous, it's wonderful. Guys, this is just what we did, and we're just learning like you. This is just what we did. And, you know, you have the best resource in the world that I can think of. You have Glenn Murdoch, the marketing guy, the guru, the go-to man for marketing, available to you. You can call him anytime. Well,
within reason.
Within reason, not in the middle of the night. But he is the guy who knows all of this stuff. He has taught us so much about this, and it would have been a much faster result for me if I had been at the Life Coaching College, I believe. So I just really want to encourage you to use that resource. Just call him, yeah? He's got the answers for the marketing side of things. But oh sorry, Hayden,
No.
am I interrupting?
No, not at all.
So I think in summary for the pro bono to paying sort of part of it, we just wanted to go over a couple of points with you. So really for both Hayden and myself, and for Doc to some extent as well, it's been about word of mouth. Word of mouth is the number one way that we grew our businesses. It wasn't through some fancy marketing campaign. Hayden didn't email out. I didn't even do that.
One of actually my first paying client was not a person that I emailed, but a partner of a person that I emailed, and I also got 2 pro bono clients through that same person.
And how do you do that? Well, you build trust and you be really, really excellent with those pro bono clients. You get really committed to your craft. So commit to the craft of coaching. If you want to be paid well to be a coach, then you've got to become an expert at coaching. It's an art, it's a science, it's a love, it's a passion, and it must be for you to be paid well for it. It has been the same in every field of work all over the world. Coaching is no different in that respect. In order to get the dollars and get the business going from it, you need to be able to commit to it and get better at it all the time. You must respect the process of coaching. You must respect yourself and value yourself. Once you see that transformation happening in your clients, you know that they are magnificent and they did it, but you were the one who was sitting there asking them the questions, and you were using your intuition and your training and your knowledge and your education to help them see what was already inside of them. Therefore, you must respect them, but you must also respect what you have done and the commitment that you've shown, and you respect the coaching process. And when you respect all 3 of those things enough, you will start to demand money for your services. Can I leave this one to you, honey, because you're really you're good with this.
The working on money stuff.
Yeah, if you have money stuff, and I mean bullshit, that's holding you back from charging your clients because you don't think you're worth it, or you think that you're not quite good enough yet, or you have some weird thing about earning money, well, get over it. Honey, can you talk to us about that for a second?
Okay, so I was thinking about this yesterday when we were talking about this class, and I was thinking about what would people pay, and we talk about what the market values, and we talk about how you value yourself, and there's a lot of us out there, and Kath and I have been in the same boat that have had money stuff to deal with, and I wasn't going to say stuff then, and
were you talking about something else that starts with S?
Yes, I was, and so when we realise that we have our stuff as coaches, we need to work through it. We must actually move past it, get over it, and put it behind us before we can truly look someone in the face and say, this is what I'm worth.
Yeah, and the market will dictate to you what you're worth, guys. If you're putting no value on yourself and no value on the coaching that you're providing, then the market will tell you that you are not worth much. When I first started coaching, I got $50 an hour per session for my first client. And that's because at that time, my confidence was at $50 a session. The market dictated it to me. When I wanted to up my price, I upped it until I got to the point where people stopped buying. That was the market telling me that at my current rate, with my current material and my current confidence levels, that's what the market was worth. Now, coaches, you might have heard people tell you you're worth $500 an hour as a coach, you're worth $1,000 an hour as a coach, and the bottom line is you're worth whatever the market will pay you. So until you are willing to use the confidence and the coaching skills for yourself to help you get better, the market will continue to pay you what you're worth.
And listen to it, because I've had a client tell me that they would have paid $10,000 for the session that they had with me.
Yeah.
And that is, I've got to tell you, that's a confidence booster. And that was in the early days of coaching. I went to my first paying client and I asked for around, even with the package and the discount, it would have been around $250 a session.
And you got it straight away.
And I asked for that because I knew the value that I could give, and I valued myself in that way, and I had built enough trust with my client, and I had enough respect for the process, and he bought it straight away.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the final thing to really to just ask yourself, and this is something I'll be talking about in the next class. Guys, the next class is from 9 until 10. It's the ICF class, our first ICF class. And this actually there's quite a flow between the two classes because there's a couple of concepts that are similar. And this is what you need to ask yourself. What can you do to be even more excellent and serve your client even more in the next moment, and then in the next moment, and then in the next moment? If you approach your coaching with a mindset of, in each moment I'm going to choose to be more magnificent and serve my client even more than in the last moment, then your coaching will skyrocket, and the money just won't even matter. It won't even matter.
It's not about the money in the end.
No, it really isn't. And I know it feels like it's about the money, guys, but it's not. Once you get that first paying client, you realize it was never about the money in the first place.
I don't know whether you've ever heard Kath talk about quantum physics and the field. It's fascinating stuff that Kath has been studying hard, and I've been playing around the edge of for the last couple of years. And in that area, there's a belief that everything is energy. Money is only energy.
Yeah.
So the energy that you get back will be the energy that you give to it.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of ideas before we progress, because I want to give you guys a few minutes at the end to ask some questions.
And I see there's some questions up there. We'll get to them at the end as well.
We will get to them in just a moment. So here's my little 30-second dump of what I reckon you can do really easily in terms of marketing when you're trying to find when you are finding your first paying clients. Blah. Referrals. Ask for referrals. If you don't ask for the referral from a pro bono, you're not going to get it. If a pro bono says to you, wow, that was amazing, thank you so much, say to them, it's a pleasure. It was an honor to serve you. Do you know anyone else who would benefit from coaching? If so, here's my number. Referral cards. Give your pro bonos a gift card that they can pass on to a friend or family member. There are examples available. Ask Doc. The Wheel of Life is a perfect way to transport someone from a pro bono to a paid, because you've worked on one area of their life and got them from a low score to a high score. Then the final question you ask them is, okay, is there another area of your life that is not as you wish it to be that that could benefit from some coaching? If so, I'm pleased to offer you this special one-time offer of however much for us to continue our coaching journey together. You can do a half-hour comp session at the start of your coaching. I'm actually not a big fan of that, and I believe Doc has gone off the idea as well, but it's something that works. So you can offer a complimentary half-hour laser coaching session in order to help them see what benefit coaching can be, and then roll them into a package.
Any of you who have been doing the Monday mentoring will know that a half-hour session as a laser coaching session is 100% possible.
Yeah, more than enough.
You can do it. You can do more than enough in a half hour to wow someone. You want to have some practice before you do that.
Yeah. You can offer free workshops and seminars with a package at the end. You can partner up with other businesses. Gyms are a classic one. Doctors, any health-related places like chiropractors, naturopaths, any business-related places, your local accountancy firm, anything. Partner up with any local business that's relevant to your niche and offer them a partnership where you are going to offer coaching to their clients for a certain price. Flyers, lumpy mail. I can't, we've got no more time for this, but Doc is the expert in all of this, guys, and so much of it is in his classes as well. So get on there, and you need to start thinking about how to charge for your coaching. Phew. Okay. So I would love now to open up the floor to any questions. It's been quite an information dump. And there are a couple of questions here already, so we might just...
Ray, when the email, the follow-up email is a fantastic thing, I agree, and I haven't met a client yet that doesn't like to be reminded of the success that they've had in a session.
Yeah. Now, yeah, oh, sorry, Jackie is asking, do you have an office that they can go to? No.
No. One of my most successful coaching sessions, in fact, 2 of my clients are walking coaching.
Yep.
I go to a park.
Hayden goes to the park or to a cafe. Jackie, I have a fabulous hotel lobby that I sit in and order coffee and feel like the Queen of Sheba for $4. And my clients love it. Skype, phone, cafes, outdoors is a great place to coach. No, we don't have an office. I don't believe in that personally for me.
I think it's also an expense that you don't need in a business like this, particularly at startup.
Yeah. Yasmin, our client profile's changing as well.
That's with the price increase.
The price increase?
I think you'll find, Yasmin, if I can answer this one, that your client profile changes as you change.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things that I ever found about coaching was that as I have learnt and as I have learnt new techniques and learnt new tools, the clients that I attract are exactly the clients that I need at that time. The clients that I work with now are all corporate management, mid-level, high-level management people, and that's the area that I play in. So it's an interesting thing. It's not particularly about the charging, I don't think, and I'm assuming that was your question. It's more about where you're at, because we tend to attract where we're at.
Yasmin, what I noticed, darling, was as my price went up, the commitment that my clients had went up. They had more skin in the game themselves. They had more to lose if the coaching didn't work for them, which of course it's always going to work. But I think as I became more confident, they became more confident in my skills, and they were willing to pay more. Couple more questions here, and then I'm going to refer you back to that one, Hayden. Enrico, the answer to that question that you've sent me, and guys, it's a private one. Yes, it was, and I can't wait to buy it again. Enrico, I hope that is the right answer for you. I hope you understand that. Okay. Mona, the hotel lobby or cafe, does it create any distraction? No, only if you let it. It's about your mindset, darling.
Yeah.
And it's about choosing the right seat as well. Choose one where
you're facing the wall.
You're facing the wall, and if possible, the client is facing the wall as well, or that you're angled into a wall in some way. Otherwise, it's all about rapport. I mean, if you've got great rapport with someone, think about it. You could be on a dance floor in a nightclub and have great rapport with someone and feel like there's no one else in the room, right? And it can be packed. It's all about your focus and your rapport with that client.
Doc tells a wonderful story about when he was coaching, cafe coaching ages ago, and he has never broken eye contact with a client until one day in the cafe. This client was always looking around when answering their questions, and he saw someone walk in that he thought he knew, and he asked a question. The client looked away, and Doc tried to grab a sneak peek of someone and got busted.
Yeah.
So I always, whenever I'm in a crowded place, I always position myself so that the client can have whatever view they like. I am looking at them, and if not looking at them, I'm looking at the wall behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Glenn, I used to take notes during the session. I still occasionally will, but I think clients find it distracting. At the start, I had to do it a lot to figure out which key language I was coming back to, but as my coaching became more intuitive and I became more practiced, I don't really even need notes anymore.
It's definitely something that's important at the start, Glenn. I agree with Kath. I did it for a very long time in the coaching, and of course you ask permission to take notes. You introduce your pen and paper as part of the introduction, and you take the notes and you explain to them why you're doing it. So that's a good one.
Okay, I'm going to direct our attention back to this question. Okay, we actually need to finish this webinar. Okay.
Yep, so Rod, very quickly, hdwbstrategies.com.
Okay, cool. Okay, yes. Pam, yes, you can record a session with their permission, of course. I never do. I think it makes people uncomfortable. Okay, guys, I've got to go. We need to start the next webinar. If you are coming to the ICF Competencies webinar, thank you for your attention this evening. Your code for tonight's class is YB10413. And I am now about to start the ICF Competencies webinar. We need to sign out and sign back in, guys. go to that other invitation that you have in your inbox for the ICF class. You're all invited. We'd love to see you there.
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you and good night.